Lakshmi, working as English lecturer in Modern Academy, Mogalrajpuram, Vijayawada. Now let us see the topic active and passive voice. The active and passive voice plays very important role in both communicative and written English. So first of all, we should know what is voice. Voice is a form of verb. So voice is a form of verb. So voice is of two types. Voice is of two types. Number one, active voice. Then number two, passive voice. So in active voice, subject is the doer of an action, and in passive voice, subject receives the action. So for example, active voice, he paints a picture. He paints a picture is a sentence in active voice. And now let us see how to change this into passive voice. So he is subject and paints is verb, picture is object. So in passive voice, a picture is painted by him is a sentence in passive voice. So here in passive voice, if we see a picture which is object in active voice became a picture subject in passive voice, and then he which is subject in active voice became him object in passive voice, and then paints which is verb in present tense became V3 verb in passive voice, and we added is helping verb before this V3 form in passive voice. So like that, active and you have seen here active and passive voice in the example sentences, and how to change active sentence into passive. Now let us see the rules to change sentences from active to passive voice. Rule number 1. Tense should not be changed in voice. Rule number 2. Subject of active sentence becomes object of passive sentence. Next, rule number 3. Object of passive sentence becomes subject of active sentence. Rule number 4. Past participle of the main verb is used. Rule number 5. Past participle is preceded by helping verbs. And rule number 6, agent by is added in passive voice before object. sentences from active to passive voice, we should take 3 tenses and their 12 forms into consideration. First of all, let us see simple present tense. If you take simple present tense, he writes novels in the active voice. And if we change this active voice sentence into passive voice, novels are written by him. So in active voice, he is subject, writes his verb, and the novels is object. So if you come to passive voice, novels which is object in active voice became subject in passive voice, and he which is subject in active voice became him in passive voice. And V1 writes became V3 past participle written, and then helping verb is added, R is added before the main verb written in passive form. So as the subject novels is plural, we have written R plural subject plural verb before the novels in passive voice. The second form is present continuous tense. He is writing novels is sentence in present continuous tense and active voice. And if we change the sentence into passive, it becomes novels are being written by him. Novels is subject, which is object in active became subject in passive voice, and he which is subject in active voice became object in passive voice, and he is writing present continuous verb became are being written in passive voice. So in continuous form we add being in passive voice. And next, coming to third tense, present perfect tense. Present perfect tense is he has written novels, is active voice. And if we change the sentence into passive voice, novels have been written by him. Novels which is object in active voice became subject in passive voice, and then he which is subject in active voice became him object in passive voice. And then has written, which is present perfect and perfect verb became have been written in passive form. So as a novel subject is plural, we have changed the verb as have, and in passive form we add been. And form of present tense is present perfect continuous tense. He has been writing novels. But here for this present perfect continuous tense there is no passive form. Next, let us see past tense and its 4 forms. First, simple past tense. Simple past tense active sentence is he wrote novels. He is subject, wrote V2 verb in past tense, and novels is object. And novels which is object in active voice became novels subject in passive voice. And then he which is subject in active voice became him object in passive voice. And V2 wrote became were written, V3 written, and then helping verb were is added as it is past tense. And coming to second form of past tense is past continuous tense. He was writing novels is in past continuous tense active voice. And then coming to passive, it becomes like this. Novels were being written by him. Novels which is object in active voice became subject in passive voice, and he which is subject in active voice became him object in passive voice. And then verb which is continuous one, that is was writing in active voice became were being written in passive voice. So being is added commonly in present continuous tense and past continuous tense also. And next, coming to third form of past tense is past perfect tense. Past perfect tense active sentence is he had written novels. So he is subject, had written is verb, and then novels is object. And so which is novels which is object in active voice became subject in passive voice, and then he which is subject in active voice became him object in passive voice. Then had written verb became had been written in passive voice. So in past perfect tense we added being in passive form. And then coming to fourth form of past tense is past perfect continuous tense. He had been writing novels, and for this tense also there is no passive form in voice. And the next, coming to future tense, there are 4 forms again. So simple future, he will write novels is an active voice, and the novels will be written by him is in passive voice. So he is subject will write his verb, and the novels is object, and novels which is object in active voice became subject in passive voice, and then he which is subject in active voice became him in passive voice, object him in passive voice, and then will write became will be plus V3 in passive voice. So then coming to second form of future tense is future continuous tense. It is he will be writing novels, and for this sentence also there is no passive form in voice. Next, coming to third form of future tense is future perfect tense. So here we get the sentence like this in active voice. He will have written novels. He is subject, will have plus V3 is the verb, and then novels is object. And novels which is the object in active voice became novels in subject in passive voice, and then he which is subject in active voice became him in object him in passive voice. Will have written verb becomes will have been written in passive voice. And then coming to fourth form of future tense is future perfect continuous tense. He will have been writing novels. For this fourth form of future tense, future perfect continuous tense is also there is no passive form. Apart from them, imperative and interrogative sentences are also there to be changed from active to passive voice. Now if we take imperative sentences, first one is open the window, and the next one post the letter. Open the window is a sentence, is imperative sentence. So if we change this sentence into passive voice, let the window be opened. So we add let before the sentence before changing it into passive voice, and the window which is object becomes subject in passive voice, and then open V1 becomes opened V3, and then B is added before main verb, past participle form of the main verb in passive voice. Next, coming to second example, post the letter is in active voice. Post is the verb and the letter is object. So if we change this sentence into passive voice, it becomes let the letter be posted. So here also we add let before the object which becomes subject in passive voice, the letter, and then post verb V1 verb becomes posted V3, and B is added before V3 of the verb posted in passive form. Next, coming to interrogative sentences again. Here in interrogative sentences there are two types of interrogative sentences. Number one that begin with WH words, and number two that begin with verbs, helping verbs and do forms and have forms. First one is that begins with WH word. Why did you break it? So here you is subject and did break is verb in past tense and it is object. So if we change this sentence into passive voice, why was it broken by you is passive voice. So why WH word is written as it is, and then as a sentence is in past tense, we have to write helping verb, past helping verb was, as it is interrogative in passive form, and then it which is object becomes subject in passive voice, and then did break becomes broken, was broken in passive form, and by agent is added, and then you becomes you in passive voice again. You will be you only in passive voice. And then coming to second example, has he painted the picture? This is second type of interrogative sentence. Here has plus V3, has painted is verb, and then he is subject, then the picture is object. Then if we change the sentence into passive, has a picture been painted by you is passive form here. So as the object becomes subject picture in passive voice, as it is singular, we have written has helping verb has in passive form, as it picture is singular, and then as it is in present perfect tense, being is added in passive form, and then V3 is painted as is written as usual, painted in passive form also, and agent by is added in passive form, and then subject he becomes object him in passive voice. So these are some important sentences and tenses to be changed from active to passive voice. That's all for today related to active and passive voice. Thanks for watching.